Hey guys, if you've been looking into camera and video news lately, you know that today DJI released their new drone, the DJI Mavic Air. And I want to talk all about what this means for wedding cinematographers specifically, and whether or not it's worth an upgrade or a purchase outright. Now the new DJI Mavic Air pretty much fits in between the Spark and the Mavic Pro in most ways, as far as size, as far as price and things like that. And then it does have some advantages over the Pro as well, which I was pretty surprised to see. So in this video, I want to break it down in 3 different categories for you to compare and contrast mostly to the Mavic Pro, because that's what I'm most familiar with, although I've flown plenty of Phantoms as well. Now, just to put it out there, I have no hands-on experience with the Mavic Air at this point. I do hope to get my hands on one soon. This is all that I've gathered from the press release and other places to put together for you guys who are wondering about this new drone. So first up, let's get into sort of the physical appearance of the Mavic Air. Now, one of the things I love about the Mavic Pro is that it folds up, and the Spark didn't do that, which I thought was a big downside. The Mavic Air, like I said, kind of takes the best of both worlds. It is smaller than the Mavic Pro, but it does fold up like the Mavic Pro, making it even more compact. You'll notice the outside is a little more sleek than the Mavic Pro, and it does come in multiple colors. When you do fold it folds up a little bit differently, and the propellers don't fold up like they do on the Mavic Pro, but it still folds up nice and compact. It's definitely smaller than the Mavic Pro and even easier to take around. You'll also notice that the gimbal is a little bit more like the Spark, which I think is a little more resistant if you were to crash or if it were to, catch on something. The DJI Mavic Pro gimbal, while great in performing as far as the video goes, it's not built as sturdy, it looks like. The next thing I want to get into is the actual specs of the drone itself, so video capabilities and things like that. I'm actually really impressed with this. I expected them to actually release something that was in between the Spark and the Pro, kind of in its entirety, but they went ahead and actually beat the Pro out or matched it in a lot of aspects. So for a drone that's less than the Pro, you actually get a lot of bang for your buck. The Mavic Air shoots at the same 4K 30 frames per second as the Mavic Pro does as far as its top resolution, and it actually shoots it at a higher bit rate. It shoots it at 100 megabits per second as opposed to 60 on the Mavic Pro. I do think that bit rate bump is a big deal. Real world, it's not going to make a huge difference to most people, but it will make a little bit of difference, and more so I think it shows that DJI is constantly pushing the envelope, even if they're releasing a smaller price point drone, but packing it with features that people want. The flight time between the two, which is another important factor, is pretty similar. The Mavic Pro states it's 27 minutes on a full charge, and the Mavic Air now states that it's 21 minutes. Now, that extra time could definitely make a difference depending on the type of project you're doing. For me, doing mostly wedding cinema, I don't find that to be a huge issue. I'm usually up and down pretty quick because I know what I need to get, and I need to get it pretty quickly because I'm always in a time crunch on most wedding days. On the photo side of things, they both shoot 12 megapixels, so no big upgrade there. There are a few things as far as the software goes. There's a different panoramic mode and things like that, but nothing major as far as the quality itself. Now, the DJI Mavic Pro does still have 2 things distinctly over the Mavic Air, in my opinion, that definitely justify the price point. The first is the video transmission. Now, on the DJI Mavic Pro, you're gonna get 1080p video, and it's not gonna be over Wi-Fi, it's over OculoSync or something like that. I'm not sure the exact phrase. It's basically what they use to transmit from the DJI Mavic Pro back to your phone. It is a very reliable signal. I've almost never had mine disconnect. And on the DJI Mavic Air, it's gonna be over Wi-Fi, which definitely still works, but it's gonna be a 720p signal, so a little bit lower resolution. And the Wi-Fi signal compared to the one that the Mavic Pro uses is definitely not as reliable. It's not gonna necessarily reach as far, and if you're in an area with heavy interference, it could drop. The other big thing that the DJI Mavic Pro has over the Air is the controller. Now the design is similar, not exactly the same, and one of the big things lacking in the Air is the screen on the controller. I absolutely love on the Mavic Pro that I have a lot of my flight details on the screen of the controller, things like my altitude and what mode I'm in, and things of that nature, which frees up my phone or tablet or whatever I'm using to be used solely for the display of my image with a few things on there as well. This means that on the Mavic Air, you're gonna have all of those things like your battery life, like your mode and height and things like that, all on your screen as well, which especially if you're using a phone is gonna get pretty cluttered pretty quickly. A few more quick things that the Mavic Air is introducing. It does have a little bit of internal storage, up to 8 gigabytes, I believe, at this point. It has more hand gesture options, so you can control it without the remote if you're trying to take a picture of yourself or something like that. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but overall it's supposed to not only give you more options, but also work better. The Mavic Air also has more cameras on it. It gives you the 2 front cameras like the Mavic Pro has for obstacle avoidance, but it also gives you 2 rear ones now as well. So in theory, you should be able to fly backwards, and if you were going to hit something, it would stop or avoid it depending on your settings and what you were trying to do. I think this is definitely something important, and again, it shows that they're pushing the boundaries. I know with the Mavic Pro, it sometimes had issues if you're flying forward towards the sun, it would see it as an obstacle. I'm a little bit worried that now having cameras on the front and the back, you might not be able to avoid that, and it might disrupt shots every now and then. It's certainly not an every flight type of thing, but definitely something that I'm a little bit concerned about. I also think that obstacle avoidance works well, and it is something that is somewhat useful, but in most scenarios, I know where I'm flying and I'm not using it. In fact, I've probably had it trigger obstacle avoidance when nothing was there more than I've actually used obstacle avoidance. So it all comes down to whether or not I think the Mavic Air is worth it. In my opinion, if I were just buying a drone now, I would probably go with the Mavic Air. I like what the Pro has to offer. I love the screen on the controller and the better controller in general. I also like a more reliable video feed, but the Mavic Air is $200 cheaper at $799 compared to $999, and it does offer higher bitrate video and a few other options. I know for myself personally, since I already have the Mavic Pro, I'm not interested in upgrading. The main draw for me would be the higher bitrate video, but I don't think it's a big enough jump to make a huge impact, and I'm pretty happy with the images I'm getting out of the Mavic already. Overall, they're both great options. They're both very compact. They can fit easily in any kind of, camera bag or lens bag you might have, and they're both gonna shoot great video. I don't think you can go wrong. Me personally, like I said, I'm gonna stick with the Mavic Pro for now. One more thing I wanna add, and this is completely speculative, is that I would not be surprised to see a Mavic Pro 2 come out sometime in the near future. Nothing tomorrow or next week or anything like that. Something ideally to compete with the Phantom series in a more compact body. So that's all I've got for you today. I hope this video was helpful. I'm pretty pumped for the Mavic Air, although I don't think I'll personally buy one. I love what it means for DJI. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts below in the comment section. If you're thinking of upgrading, what you're coming from, what you're excited about in the DJI Mavic Air. And as always, I'd love to have you like and subscribe to this channel, follow along for more videos. Thanks.